Great. Thank you, everyone, for your patience while we get sorted through some technical difficulties. Thank you for joining us for this session on mindfulness. Today, we're joined by two presenters. So first up, we'll have Stephane Dale presenting on Body Talk, What Does Living Feel Like? And then we'll be joined by Irina B, Mindfulness to Beat Procrastination. So I'll hand over to Stephane to introduce herself and to run her workshop.
Thanks, Rhiannon. So I'm Steph. I run a project called The Right Road. I'm a journalist by trade, and I've spent the past 8 years running around the outback mainly, doing writing and communications workshops. And I'm currently doing a PhD in wellbeing through writing at QUT. I'm coming to you at the moment from the lands of the Turrbal and Yagara people. I pay my respects to their elders, their ancestors, to the land and the creatures and the spirits of this land. I'd also like to thank NENA and all the participants at this conference. It's been a fabulous week. Thank you all. So one of the most interesting workshops I've been running out west is called Everybody's Story. 3 words, everybody's story. This workshop is premised on the idea that all emotional trouble lodges in our physical body. It's there in our sore knee, our recurring headache, the foot that won't stop tapping, the tension in our shoulders, the stiff jaw, the tight throat. There's the emotion we feel, yeah? Feelings are physical. They're not mental, they're not psychological. Feelings are what we feel. After that, we tell a story. And now we're in the realm of the mental and the psychological. To make meaning of our feelings, we tell a story, perhaps even to avoid the feelings. So everybody's story explores the idea that feelings and the stories we tell about them impact us. The ones that impact us don't leave, not just our mental and psychological space, they don't leave our physical body. And that by visiting our physical body, we can root out the stories that have lodged in our bones. And then if we want to, and it takes courage to want to, we release the story, not by telling more stories, but by using writing to language, name, claim, identify, explore our willingness to release our story from our physical body. So the shape of this discussion circle, I need your help, anybody's help, in formulating ideas, concepts, language for a data collection, a specific data collection challenge that I'm facing in the PhD. So we need to move fast today, so I'll skip over it. I'll spend another couple of minutes setting up the conversation, then we'll do a practical exercise, and then we'll open the floor for a discussion. So I'm in the mindfulness category, which is hilarious, because mindfulness is a term I avoid. If we were face to face in an actual circle, we'd briefly play with that, but we're not, so we won't. Despite the popularity of mindfulness as a concept and a practice, in the Western world, we've adapted concept and practice to suit ourselves. So to my way of thinking, it's not relevant to the work I do. So what are we doing here? We need better language to better describe what we actually mean about a lot of things. Sue Stack touched on this on Friday. So too, using different themes, have Nick Rose, Morag Gamble, Jose Ramos, and others to be sure over the last few days. So our focus here is this. It can be extremely challenging for people to give language to the feelings they experience inside the skin. Yeah. So the preliminary data from my study indicates people do not generally know how to describe how they feel physically in relation to emotions. For example, not a single study participant at the beginning of the 5-month program could tell me what writing felt like. And just one, who's a reflective poet, paused when I asked, how does that feel? She replied, that's an interesting question. I've never thought about that before. And you might say writing is not a feeling. I promise you, ask people to write something and there will be feelings. So how do we speak the feelings that have lodged in our bones, our blood, our flesh, without metaphor, beyond mental constructs. I'd like to explore our generalized capacity for connecting with the body that is doing our living and then language that. So we're not speaking of languaging the mind's idea of the body. We're speaking of the body speaking for itself. And throughout this session, you can use the earth as metaphor for the body. Yeah, the body speaking for itself. We tend to take it upon ourselves to speak for the earth. What is it to speak for our own bodies? Let's begin there. So I'll give you an example. This is an extract from the data. I'll just put up a screen share and let you read this. So the interviewer, close your eyes for a minute. What does it feel like in your body? Yeah, that sense of you've written your book and you're being exposed. And the participant says, oh, it's just terrible. I am a knot from my throat to my abdomen, one giant knot of anxiety and worry. As a comparison, when this same participant was asked to describe her feelings about the courage she was asking from herself, she left her physical body and she slipped into a story. So I'll just show you this one. She said, well, it's lovely that you picked that word because it's actually one of my deep values about being courageous. It would take a great deal of courage for me to, even if I never got it published, to actually put pen to paper. So we can see that she's left her body. In the first example, she was speaking from inside her body. In the second example, she slipped away and spoke about something else, her idea about something. I also noticed in one session I was in this morning when people were asked what their day-to-day life would look like in a wellbeing economy, people listed ideas and thoughts, which were great ideas and thoughts. Very few people, however, responded by speaking and identifying what their living would look like or feel like. So what's the point? The point is recognizing the importance, the supreme importance of the physical body that is doing our living, and noticing that and languaging that, and recognizing how the stories we tell take root in our bodies and shape our living and impact our health and our well-being. And I need help wrapping my mind around these concepts. And this is what I'm looking forward to exploring with you today. So we're going to do a brief writing exercise. It's a fast version of everybody's story. It's a super fast version. It'll be like 2 minutes. I'm going to ask you all to keep it light. Just work with something that's every day. Please don't take a deep dive. We've only got a couple of minutes. So I'm going to make the assumption you've all got pen and paper. If you don't, scribble on the back of something. Anything at all that's top of mind at the moment. The videos aren't on, so I can't see if any of you are actually writing. But off the top of your head, just scribble. Whatever is top of mind. It won't be full sentences necessarily. It's not a writing test. It's nothing. Just dump whatever's on the top of your mind onto that piece of paper, just for a minute. Blah, blah, blah. The chatter of your mind. Might be something important, something that bothered you, something you noticed, something you've been thinking about throughout the conference that's top of mind, whatever's top of mind. Scribble, scribble, scribble. And now we're going to move quickly so that we finish on time. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to sit up straight. I want you to feel your feet on the floor. Feel your feet on the floor, beneath the floor, the earth. It doesn't matter where you are. Beneath that floor is the earth, and that earth is a great spinning ball of rock and fire. Yeah. massive amount of energy. Feel your feet on the earth, through your shoes, through the floor. Feel your feet on the earth and breathe. Breathe into your body. It makes sense we're doing that anyway. Nonetheless, bring your awareness below the neck. Breathe into your body. Sky above. Feel the air nudging up against your skin. Life force all around us, life force. Let it in. Breathing through the center of our chest. Getting on the inside. Take up residence inside your skin. Feel your feet on the earth. The bones in your feet, the bones in your toes, the bones in your fingers, the bones in your ribs. Inside with the bones and the blood and the flesh. And whatever you've been writing about, top of mind, from the inside, think about it, and you will feel it somewhere in your body. Somewhere in your body is a small impulse or a significant impulse. I want you to observe where that is, write that down, and then explore what story is living in this part of your body. What does your body feel in relation to this small and or significant thing that you've been writing about that's top of mind for you? It may just simply be rushing to get somewhere. Where does it live in your body? When you think about it, where does it live in your body? What's it got to say to you? This is your body speaking for itself. From this deeper place, from inside the skin, below the neck. We are only living below the neck. What does this part of your body have to say to you? 'What does it need from you? Doesn't mean to say you have to give it to it. No right, no wrong, no judgment. What does your body need from you? And now closing your eyes again, coming back to feet on the earth, breathing through the center of your chest. And whatever's been on your mind, the story that's living in your body, I want you to ask the center. Some might say, ask your heart. What does your heart know about what you've been writing about? And write that down. "15 seconds. Finishing up what you've been writing. And now I have a question. I can't see you all, so it's helpful to me if you raise your hands. Any thoughts? I refer to that as kind of the three of the intelligences that it's available to us as a human. There are many, but those are three of them. Any thoughts on the different kinds of information you received, depending upon where you were focused? Anybody want to comment? We're not asking about what you were writing about. just so much the observations that you have about that experience.
It seemed an efficient way of tuning in.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you notice anything, Penelope, in the different kind of information you got from all three?
I did notice that some were more ideas related as opposed to feeling. Yeah.
How did you go with feeling? Like describing the feelings?
Yeah, again, there were labels that probably refer to the ideas that I connect with them rather than actually whether it's warmth or buzzing or whatever else in the body. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Has anybody got, in relation to the framework that I set up at the beginning of this, this is a discussion circle. It would be so much easier if we were in the room. We're not. Anybody got any ideas at all about within the framework that I set up at the beginning about languaging the physicality of our living? Anybody got any ideas at all about that, whether or not they came through that writing exercise? It doesn't matter where it comes from. Any ideas at all? No?
Oh, it's Alison here. I guess, you know, if you describe something to yourself or to somebody else, it takes you through a process of making sure you get to the end of a thought process, I suppose, instead of getting interrupted thought processes all the time. So yeah, get to work something out.
Yep. Thanks, Alison. Thank you. Anybody else throw anything in? Otherwise, I'll throw up a screen share. Rhiannon, how am I going for time? What time does...
well, we started a little late, so maybe like 5 or 6 minutes.
Okay. I'm just mindful of not cutting in on Irina's time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a screen share, another screen share. Where's it gone? It's another screen share. And this screen share, to me, is a notable exception in the study and may give us an idea of what we're talking about here. Now I'm going to blow this up and then I'll scroll it up I'll give you all a minute or so to read it, but just skip through and you'll get the idea. So this is somebody in the study when asked to describe her feelings about not responding to her deep longing to write. She said it feels bland, disappointing, heavy. And when I asked what impact it might have on her life, she said it would keep me trapped and silenced. And I asked her what that felt like, and she said it feels griefy, loss. And when I asked where in her body that was, she said the solar plexus. So I'll just scroll up. And when I asked her to describe that feeling, she said it was tight and distressed, regressive. So I asked her to imagine she was doing the writing she was longing to do and accessing the voice that longed to speak. And she said it was definitely in her throat. And I asked her what her experience of that was. And she said it felt like a beautiful, clear way happen, expansive, feeling full of light and full of song, and how proud and fulfilled she was of herself. So I am now going to suggest, imagine if that was an interview with a medical professional in our new wellbeing economy. Yeah. Well, how differently might the diagnosis be for this woman's stress and other things she may be enduring as a result of holding herself contracted? Yeah, how differently might we approach and resource our health and medical systems if this was understood? And what responses, like her responses, if we had language for this, how differently might our conversations on the street go? if we could actually share with each other the actuality of our living, to my mind, we might begin to nail the change. I'm looking for how to language this. At the moment, I'm calling it, languaging emotional physicality, which is just really, it's academic words. To me, we are all, I referenced this at the beginning, we're speaking for the earth. We're taking it upon ourselves to speak for the earth, for communities, for politics, for ideas. We need also to have a language that speaks the actuality of our own living. Yeah, the actuality of our living, so that we can shift changes in our social connections and access different everyday intelligences. So I'll leave you with all of that. If anybody, actually, I'll throw my email into the chat. And if anybody has any ideas that occur to them, or you want to follow up the conversation, I'd love to hear from you. S5 Dale at HDR, hang on. And anybody got anything they want to throw in before we close? No, we're all good. Okay, everybody, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you.
Warm Zoom. Thank you. And yeah, hopefully everyone's feeling very grounded now. And we're going to continue. Also, Alice says they enjoyed the exercise. Thank you. So we're joined by Irina B, who will take us through the next portion of the mindfulness session. So I'll pass over to Irina to introduce herself and run us through this discussion. Thank you so much, Irina.
Thanks. I'm going to need the mouse. You're going to put my...
Yes. Are you going...
Oh, so I've got some slides. Can you put me on... Sorry, technical. Can you put me on screen and the slides? No? Doesn't matter. Put the slides on. I don't care.
Hold on.
Doesn't matter.
Spotlight.
While we do that, Stephanie, that was amazing. I really loved the exercise. And I really got a lot out of it. And I did do some writing, even though I didn't share. And I really enjoyed the exercise, and it gave me some insights that I found quite interesting.
Thank you, Irina.
Yeah. There's no one. I'm let you know that I was doing it quietly here on my phone with my little pen. All right. All right, let's go.
That seems to be good, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. That good?
Yeah. So I don't know what people can see. They can just see the...
They can see the screen.
Yeah, we can see the slides. That looks good.
You can just see the slides, so it doesn't matter what I look like. Okay.
Oh, yo.
We can see you as well.
You can see me as well, then I'm glad I did it. Yeah. Right? Okay. All right, so we'll go back to that. Oh, look at that. Now, who wants to feel like that? I do, to be honest. That's my son there in Coolum. So I just wanted to say thanks everyone who's here today. I know it's been a big week. I follow along with Stephanie to acknowledge the local custodians and pay my respects to them. And this is going to be a very quick and practical session. I just have practical things for you to do to help beat something that I think we all experience is not able to get stuff done, not able to move forward. And for me in particular, I find around a subject like climate change, where I hear all the things I should be doing or all the places I should be an activist in, and sometimes that just freezes me. And that happens in my work and in a number of other scenarios. I could talk about this for hours, to be honest. And I developed this toolkit initially when I was doing a PhD earlier during COVID, and people were really struggling with their mental health and moving forward. So these are, I'm not going to be able to get through all the exercises obviously today because there's a lot of them. I've got even more. So I'm going to focus on 2 or 3 and go through them that you can use straight away. They're catch-all exercises. You don't need anything special. You can have a piece of paper, but I didn't have a pen outside, so I just did the focus wheel like on the back of the piece of paper with my finger. That worked fine. So basically you need nothing except your brain and a space. You can do it in a toilet cubicle before a meeting. You can do it in your car. So the things that suit me, I hopefully will suit you, and pushing through that procrastination, those blocks, those fears, those anxieties, so you can just get, continue and do something. And if you'd like me to do the other techniques that I won't have a chance to do today, please get in touch with me. I've got my details on the screen, and as we go, get in touch with me and I'll explain to you personally to you, or if there's a few people, I'll just make a video and I'll share that video of all the other techniques. So I'm going to do a little quick eye close exercise as well. You're welcome to join in with me or just watch me do it. Not very exciting because everything's internal, but this is a really, really great exercise when you're just very stressed, and I've got my eyes closed already, and or you just need to calm down and think quietly. So it's, I call it the brow exercise, and you may have come across it. And so you close your eyes and you put your intention, or you put your mind, or you put your thoughts in the middle of your eyebrow, and then you imagine your brow smoothing up to the top of your hairline, down to the base, down to the top of your nose and sort of where your eyebrows are, and then across side to side. And you just imagine your eyebrow, your sort of forehead area, all of that area just smoothing out side to side and up and down. Very simple technique, and actually quite powerful to bring down that level of intensity or anxiety or panic. And that's so. The first, what we're going to cover today, we're going to be able to do EFT tapping. Some people may have heard of that. When I found out about it 15 years ago, it was quite not really out there, but more common today. A focus wheel and a couple of on-paper procrastination busters. And then the rest of it, if you want to know about them, get in touch with me. I'll make a video or I'll tell you directly. So let's start. So I don't know how many of you have come across EFT tapping. It is a form of cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT. If you're interested to know the research, there is a lot out there. I even found a book in the library about EFT tapping for teenage girls, and I have taught my own children how to do it. I first came across it about that 15 years ago or so, and I used it to quit smoking, to become a non-smoker. So what I used tapping for was not to stop myself smoking, but to just find out what was the reason that I wanted to smoke, and then I dealt with that rather than have a cigarette. So that was probably the most powerful thing. But I use EFT tapping like all the time for anything. Basically when I'm feeling uncomfortable about something, and I've been doing this a long time, so I can pretty much recognize that feeling now. I will tap around it. I've spent over 25 years in PR and communications. I was the communications manager for nationwide lobby groups, Clean Energy Council, Volunteering Australia, Australian Red Cross Blood Service. I had to do huge national television blood drives. I even did a national, would you believe, immunisation campaign for flu. So I had to really deal with politicians, media, people in business, and it was kind of nerve-wracking. You had to call up the chief of staff at Channel 10 and basically somehow charm them, cajole them to give you some free media coverage. And that took a lot, and often I would take at least 30 minutes before I could make a call because I was so afraid that they would say no, and I'd be so panicky. And these are tapping is one of those techniques that helps you deal with that. So one of the biggest things I use it for is actually writing and paying invoices. I've been working in consultancy for over 10 years with big and small clients, and I charge them a lot. And I have to then send them an invoice and make them pay me. And they could just turn around and not pay me, which has happened to me once. And, but actually that panics me and creates anxiety for me, and I will use this technique. So I will use this now. Where am I in my little talk? Yes, you can do this. I did this in the car. You can do it in a toilet stall, one of my favourite places because it's quiet and it's no one's asking you any questions, or in a room if you've got one, or just anywhere. But you do need just a little bit of privacy because you are tapping, so it looks weird from the outside. So let's have a go. Now, the other thing is you could do one round, and then if you get an insight, which is normally what happens, I get like a not a message so much, but kind of what Stephanie was saying, like a message from your body. Once you sort of calm down and take that pain or that stress or that humiliation or shame or imposter syndrome or whatever it is you're feeling away, something else comes up and you can tap on that. So initially when you start, you might be tapping all day long like a different sort of person, but it does calm down, and then you might only use it every few days. I've taught my kids, I've taught loads of people to do this. So I'm going to do something quite simple. So you can see on the slide, there's a picture of where you tap. I think part of what calms down, works on dealing with your anxiety and pushing you through a block is the sequence and the ritual and the routine of it. So it starts with, you can do left or right side of the body. It starts with naming your pain or your shame or your concern, and 3 times, and then you tap around. So I'm going to do, just because, I'm going to do not making my bed. Obviously, it's a very low stakes choice. Jordan Peterson might say otherwise, but I'm just going to use that. But you can use that for any feeling, concern, issue you want to get rid of, pass, uncover. So here we go. You don't have to close your eyes. Even though I didn't make my bed this morning, I accept and love myself just as I am. Hello. Even though I didn't make my bed this morning, I love and accept myself just as I am. Even though I didn't make my bed this morning, I love and accept myself just as I am. So you're naming your shame, essentially, and then you are approving of yourself and forgiving yourself. And then you go around like this. Even though I didn't make my bed this morning, I love and accept myself just as I am. I love and accept myself just as I am. I love and accept myself just as I am. Even though I didn't make my bed this morning, I love and accept myself just as I am. I love and accept myself just as I am. I love and accept myself just as I am. I love and accept myself just as I am. And then you end with a 10-finger steeple. Even though I didn't make my bed this morning, I love and accept myself just as I am. And then, a message might come up for you that says, don't worry about it, it's just your bed, or it may be something else. But I guarantee you, if you try this in your own private space for something that's meaningful for you, it will not only calm you, it will let you accept whatever the concern, the pain, the shame, the issue is, and allow you to move forward. And certainly my teenage daughter and my kids use it for, their anxieties, and I found it incredibly helpful with pretty much anything where you need to move past something and you just can't. So that's EFT tapping. The second technique I want to deep dive in today is called a focus wheel, and it's sort of the opposite of EFT, whereas in EFT tapping, you're naming the thing that is most difficult to deal with. You're bringing it out into the open and you're sort of accepting it and moving through it. In this, you're finding the thing, what do I call it? The subject. Let's call it the subject. I don't need notes. I know this stuff inside out. So you find the subject, and then you're trying to bring joy to it. You're trying to reframe it for yourself in a way that the subject is not fearful in any way, but you can move forward. Around the edge, you can see focus wheels that I've done around things that were important to me, and literally it takes 30 seconds to write it. You are not judging. You are not thinking. Stephanie, with your kind of automatic writing, you might get what I mean here as well. You start by drawing a circle. You draw a circle. Inside the circle, you write your subject, whatever it is you're going to write your focus wheel on. And then in a kind of mind mapping or sunshine pattern around the edge, you just start writing words that are positive and supportive. So, for instance, I've got one about my husband, because obviously I'd like him to be positive and supportive. I've got something around uni. I've got something about making money, and then another one about my PhD, which was a difficult thing to do during COVID. So the one that I have there that I've illustrated is a job interview. So you write job interview in the middle, and then I've just gone and just written any word that comes up that's positive, what I want out of it, what is the best outcome. You are just filling yourself with this positive emotion around this subject. So I've got relaxed, answers come easily to the interview questions. Everything is working out for me. They loved me, those people who interviewed me. Easy banter. We had such great conversation. We got along. We connected. They can tell that I'm the one. And it's something that I might do, say, for a job interview in the car or in the room before I go into the job interview, to put myself in that position of feeling powerful and calm and chilled about it, and not feeling stumbly or anxious or concerned. And you can do this about any topic, about finding work, about your current projects, about anything that you want to achieve for your life. If you want something, do a quick focus wheel around it. The worst that can happen is you'll feel better about something. If you're not, if you're not feeling good about it, then you're not doing it right. So that is focus wheel, and they're the two deep dives. And the third thing I'm going to cover today are two very quick and powerful on-paper procrastination busters. Now, it's not even on paper. The pink one is what I do on my phone. I just use my note tab, and that is microtasking. And at the bottom, you've got the link to an article on Medium about it that will give you the macro explanation of microtasking, but I'll explain it to you. So as I mentioned earlier, I find writing invoices to my customers one of the most challenging things I've had to face as a consultant. I do the work, I earn the money, and I can't ask for it. I don't know, can I tell you, I've worked in nonprofit a long time. So microtasking is you literally write a list of the tiniest tasks that you can manage. And then once you start doing your list, you create a momentum that lets you keep going. It sounds like it doesn't work, but it actually does. And I've written lots of invoices. So certainly trying to write a thesis, 60,000 word thesis is overwhelming and scary and all sorts of things. But if you can break it down, so it's literally, I walk into the room where my computer is, I sit down at my chair, I turn on the computer, I open up Word. Like, you break it down into the tiniest task. Now, you might be challenged by cooking a meal, or you might be challenged by driving a car, or you might be challenged about writing a really, really important proposal that's going to get you a ton of money for your research, right? Whatever it is, you're not dealing with it, you're procrastinating around it. So what you do is you microtask it, and then you sit down, tick it off, turn on your computer, tick it off. 10 minutes of meandering around internet to sort of ramp you up, put it in your microtask, tick it off. And by the time you actually get started on the thing, you've got 10 things ticked off your list, you've got momentum, and you'll start to move. And that's microtasking. The second sort of on-paper procrastination buster is what I call a split list. And it's a sort of amalgam of things I've read about how to make a task list. Because I am a consultant, I often have to run my own day, and I have multiple responsibilities. I have children, I have a family, I have my business, I have my volunteering, I have my own interests as well. And obviously, go watch some TV in there, go to the gym, or think about going to the gym, whatever it is that I have to do. So you split your page up into 2/3 on the left for me, because I'm a right-hander, and then 1/3 column on the right. Draw a line, as you can see on that on the slide. On the left, you write, it says, what I will do today, which is just an acronym there, what I will do today. And then you write your task list as you would. But then there's a whole bunch of tasks that are outside your control. Eating well, to a degree, can be outside your control because you forget. Or feeling good. Or they're not actual tasks, they're kind of bigger things, like grander things, like earning enough money to support myself, or feeling great, or whatever it is, or some other thing that's kind of something isn't a small task that you can do in one day, that might be a bigger job, or going on a holiday. And that all goes on your right-hand side, and at the top it says, for me, it says what source will do for me. Now, you can put in whatever you like, what the universe will do for me, what your God can do for you, what, like whatever fantasy, what the Marvel universe can do for you. Whatever that is, you get it out of your head onto a piece of paper and you let go of it for someone else to take care of, or something else to take care of, so that you can just focus on what you've got to get through and just trust that that will get done. And invariably, like sometimes I write things on the right that say, buy camping gear, for say a family camp that we have to go on. Invariably, it just kind of turns up in a few days as you kind of practice surrender to a degree, but also trusting that things are going to work out for you rather than holding on and trying to control it all. But you're also, in the meantime, working through the list of the things that you actually have to do. So they're the sort of three main things. How are we going for time? I can't see the clock.
We've got 6 minutes.
Right. So I would open for questions, but I wonder, since we're all sort of online, whether people would prefer to just me go on. I don't know how to check where, if I go look at participants, is that right? How do I?
Got, let's say 7 participants.
No, but they can thumbs up me or something. What do you want me to do? Can we crowdsource whether people want me to go on or whether you want to ask questions?
We've got a comment in the chat. Go on.
Go on. All right. So for the next 6 minutes, I'm going to talk about this. Preparing for difficult conversations. That is, again, my son smacking the piñata. So that's a difficult conversation that you can just hit. These are the three. These are the three that I've made up on my own that work for me, and they're really just mind over matter in a way. So the calm mirror exercise is the first one, and I sort of started it. Probably people do it. I'm sure I didn't invent it. Everyone's got a car. Well, everyone who's got a car has got a car mirror, right? So you can you need a mirror, not your phone. You need a mirror that is so small that you can just see your eyes in. And then whatever, let's say you're going into an important meeting and you have an important conversation that you have to have, or a scary conversation, and you get your eye into the car mirror, you just look back at yourself and you say to yourself the kind of stuff you would have found in your focus wheel. So, I'm going to do great at this. They're going to love me. I am amazing. Whatever thing you have to say, they're going to accept what I have to say. They're going to give me the money. I'm going to get that funding. I am, whatever it is, but you say it straight into your eyeballs. And for some, I guess, self-hypnosis reason, it actually boosts your confidence in a way that works out, right? And I as a specimen of one, as a research participant of one, I can tell you it works every time. Don't look at your face, don't look at anything else, just straight into your eyeballs, and the best thing is a calm mirror. Hearts beating is one, is if you're in the room, one of these is a really great thing, and I've been doing this for decades, is, because I'm pretty old, is you imagine while you're in the room, if things aren't going well in the conversation, you imagine that your hearts are syncing up, they're beating. I do not know why this works, but it does. So you pretend that you can hear your own heart beating while you're having the conversation, and you pretend that you can hear the other participants in the room, and then you pretend that everybody's heart beats as one. And somehow that makes the conversation easier, or maybe it just makes it easier for yourself. For whatever reason, it removes some of that fear and anxiety, and things start to flow better. The last one is the most wackadoodle, and it's choose another multiverse, where you literally say to yourself, just quietly, if things are not working out the way you want, you just say to yourself quietly, I mean, it helps if you believe in a multiverse, the sense that there are, so that you make a choice and all choices are available to you at once. You just say quietly, everything is going to stay the same, but I'm walking through a door and this other thing is happening. So, the example that sort of comes up to me at this point is, say, I don't know, dating. You meet someone and you really like them and you want to pursue this thing with them, because I've been talking about meetings and proposal things. I want to go a little bit more personal. And you just, and it's, something's not right, but you know it should be working. So you just imagine that you are opening a door and walking into another version of this universe a multiverse. It's exactly like this thing. Everything is exactly the same, except this relationship is working out. You can use it to find, you can use it in any situation, but again, it just twists you to that positive frame of mind. You can use it for things like exercise and health and wellness, where you just say to yourself, actually, you step through that door and on the other side is someone motivated to get up at 5:30, go to the gym. And obviously, if it's not working for you, then, go back to the focus wheel, go back to the tapping. All of these things work together until you find the right technique. So that is preparing for difficult conversations. And again, if you want to hear this all again, if this is too fast, I know I talk a mile a minute. I'm from Melbourne. I'm a quick talker, I know. I'm happy to do a longer video or talk to you directly. How long have we got? Anyone?
We've got, just a minute, but you can, a minute or two is good.
All right, 1 minute, then I'm going to talk about, obviously, the everything is my favorite exercise. This will put you in an amazing, it's so weird, but it works, and it'll put you in a frame of mind that'll push through your inertia, your block, or your procrastination, or whatever it is. It literally is exactly what it says on the box. Everything is my favorite. This mouse is my favorite. This mic is my favorite. This piece of paper is my favorite. The best thing you do is ideally go out into the world where there's nature and you walk around and you say, this flower is my favorite. This footpath is my favorite. I love this tree. It sounds bananas, but when you do it, when you actually do it and commit to it, it's somehow, rather than we kind of constantly live in an internal dialogue of criticizing, or, does my butt look big in this, or my hair looking good, or I hate that piece of furniture, or I hate that colleague, or whatever, you actually walk around and go, that colleague is my favorite. I love their handbag. Wow, your nose is gorgeous. In your mind, you are just, instead of that internal critic that we always hear, we flip it over, and for a couple of minutes, we just do the opposite of the critic, whatever that is, Santa maybe. So, and that is the one of my favorite exercises to do, which is the everything is my favorite exercise. So I just want to say thank you so much. Oh, here we go. Some resources that will come on this, some free resources that you can access, and if you're interested in any of this stuff, they're all free. And one of the great ways of getting out of your head, beating procrastination and inertia, and learning how to do that quickly, I found, is actually taking up improv classes, because you have to think in the moment. You can't like be ashamed or embarrassed. You can't second guess yourself, and everything is a yes. So that's it for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Irina. If we could please give a warm thank you on Zoom. Stephanie says, thanks, Irina. You're my favorite. Very sweet. Thank you so much. I hope that everyone's feeling like they have plenty of tools and resources to, take on whatever challenging work that they have. And yeah, thank you again, Irina, for sharing. And I've put your email in the chat. So yeah, thank you